Good evening, everyone. It's Bank Holiday Monday. It's 8 p.m. It's the Online Darts Live Lounge with me, Phil Bars, Dan Simpson, and Jonathan for episode 246. Still scratch my head every day how we've made it this far. Gentlemen, how are we?
It's getting close to that 250 number, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, I'm all right. All is well. It was a very standard bank holiday in the Simpson house. There was lots of, although more bank holiday, I think, has been celebrated, or celebrated more than the bank holiday has been May the 4th. We've got some Star Wars fans in the house. So, yeah, the kids went lightsaber training and they went to lightsaber school this afternoon. All is well. It's got a bit bright. We were away for a couple of days of the weekend. It was quite nice. So it's been a busy old time. It's my birthday on Wednesday as well.
It is. Happy birthday to you then for them, Mr. Simpson. Very
important. Last one beginning with a 3.
Yeah, I get that. No, I'm at my dad's tonight, which is why the backdrop looks a bit different. They're having some big work done. So at the moment, I have to be in the spare living room that they got. This is how ridiculous my dad's house is. And they have a second living room. But it's all good. So if someone says have I got cataracts, is your screen misty? It might be the fact that, there we go. It might be the fact that I've got this sort of like light shining on me as if like I'm the angel Gabriel coming down.
I was going to say, you do look like something from almost biblical. You look like there's some sort of special light shining upon you.
I might say something like I have a Christmas scene.
No, we're not. We are nowhere near. Until such time, Philip, as the longest day happens, I will never entertain you doing that, and I will be calling the Met Police to make sure that we lock you up. Not a chance.
The chat room is rammed already. Let's go through some of UK. How are we doing? Owen is in. Dale, how are we doing? Fraser, how are you, my friend? Hope you all is good. Dave, always a pleasure, my friend. Shelty, other Dave is in. Warren, Jimmy, Adam, yes, buddy, how are you? Matthew, Marcus, Joel, Scott, it is Ram. Paul, how are we doing?
I genuinely thought for a second then you were going to do a Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John reference, and I was like, bloody hell, we are. We really are going down the Christmas scene.
To be fair, all we need is Rod, Jane, and Freddie. Some people will get that reference.
God love us. Jesus.
Wayne is in. Rob, hello, mate. It's been a while. Yes, most of you have been with me all day on the Pro Tour stream, which was good. How we doing, Ollie? Big Johnny is in. Adam is in from NYC. Yes, my friend. Hope you are good. Look, it's been a busy time. It just seems like gearing up for a lot of things. That Blackpool Tower is starting to twinkle on the horizon, which we'll come to in a little bit. Yes, how we doing, my friend? Chinese on order. The Littler family are in. Anthony, how you doing, my friend?
Did someone order a Chinese?
What's been quite cool about the match play, right, is the last couple of years, the match play has aligned with the first week of the summer holidays. So the match play basically starts when the kids break up for school. Now, whilst I'm not a teacher, I do work in the education sector. And what that means is, because of a lot of the work that I'm involved with and the things that I do, it means that all over on the walls at work, we have big countdowns to the start of the season. Now, nobody else knows this, but they're essentially just countdowns to the first day of the match play that are sort of all over I've got them on all sorts of different spreadsheets, and we've got them on backgrounds and posters on the wall. It's quite, everyone thinks it's to do with work, but it's just a countdown to the match day. But it's getting very, very close.
Yeah, we'll come on to that. We are going to do the Premier League first because Aberdeen was as dead as a dodo. The atmosphere was horrific in the venue. I wonder what it come across like on TV. And you know it's bad when in her wrap, even Emma went, it's a bit flat tonight, isn't it?
Well, we talked about this last week, didn't we? Really. The Premier League format as a whole is just a bit meh. And that's the problem with it. Even the in-venue fans now, I think, are starting to go, okay, it's a little bit crap. But like you said, though, I like the P&J. I think it's a good venue. But when you look at it from previous years, especially pre-P&J, and you look at the old Aberdeen Arena, there is no comparison. It's like trying to compare apples and oranges. There just isn't a comparison there, really, is there?
Yeah, I sort of think, though, I don't really care too much about the format. Like, I don't really, because I think, look, you've got, without, spoilers, it was a few days, but, like, you've got Luke Humphreys in the final, going to a deciding leg, both averaging 104 and 103. Like, I mean, if you're not into darts, fine. Like, but don't go. I just think it's, like, if you're into darts, how do you not enjoy that? How do you not, like... I don't know. I don't care how many. How many.
We see that matchup 1,700 times in about 4 weeks. That's the
third
third week in a row.
When did you get tired of watching derbies? Like, when did you get sick of watching derby matches? Like, it's a special.
We don't see it. I enjoyed watching Liverpool Man United the weekend because we don't see it all the time.
Yeah, and like
I enjoy watching
the third week in a row
because we don't see it all the time.
Third week in a row, this was. Third week in a row, we'd seen Littler versus Humphreys at some point in the league phase. It just doesn't work. It doesn't. And that's the reason why, like, I think fans are starting to... We had this discussion last week when you were decided that, you wanted to have a week off, Daniel. That you were playing with your trains, as we used to say on this show. That the Premier League format needs an overhaul. And it's things like that. Like, again, I always come back to it. Littler Van Gerwen at the World Matchplay 2024, it was special because it was the first time ever they'd played each other in a ranked tournament. Now, that was special on its own. But can you imagine if they hadn't played against each other 14,374 times in the Premier League that season? It would have been hyped, quite rightly, for days and days and days.
Yeah. And you're right, and I agree, but it is what it is. It's like...
The problem is that's the first time one of the big new arenas, and it is new, was flat. Well, Aberdeen gets darts once a year, so you would have thought it would have been buzzing for these games because these fans haven't seen these games. But But how do you attribute that at all to the lack of a Scotsman in the lineup? Do you think we get,
possibly?
Do you think if we've got a, and I know there's everyone's a different, but if we've got Gary there, if we've got, the likes, when we've seen, Big John come out in an arena and everyone goes completely bananas. Like, is it just that realistically, the fans in Aberdeen, they've not really got a real attachment to anybody there. They're enjoying being at the darts, but it's very difficult to inject, a real passion.
But there's other events but there's other events though, aren't there? The World Matchplay gets the darts once a year. Blackpool gets darts once a year, and I appreciate that might be again comparing apples and oranges because going to Blackpool you get the diehards and all the rest of it. But you look at the World Grand Prix, look at the Grand Slam, right? Those people there don't necessarily have attachments to their players in Leicester and Wolverhampton. They're just there to watch a bit of darts and have a beer. It's sometimes a bit too many beers. But you still get a decent atmosphere. And they got 8 games tonight, certainly on that first week of the World Grand Prix, first 2 days of the World Grand Prix, first 4 days of the Slam. There were 7 matches a night there. I just think there is, I came back to it last week, there is a bit of a worry of oversaturation, massively. And I do think we are at the tipping point now.
And what I don't think it bodes well for, if that's the case, is the next few weeks, because you haven't got this. We haven't got 2 Welshmen playing in Cardiff, and we haven't got Littler in Manchester, and we haven't got that in the next few weeks. What we've actually got is we've got Leeds, which although Humphreys may consider his home, I'm not sure the people of Leeds do. So I don't think they have.
Sorry, that comment there from Nels is very funny, and that is a very big point. If you don't have that chant, then the place is dead right now.
Correct. Birmingham again.
Shite night.
What we're doing there. Sheffield, how much are they going to care? And so it's especially to when you get towards the end where potentially, and I'm still not on this train, but if you think that it's done, and we're not going to see loads of peril within those games either, then that's going to suck even more out of it.
Yeah, this was the first time all year that it was noticeably dead as like the worst I've ever seen it.
But again, though, do you think that is to do with the venue? Like, we've been to it, Barzy, you've been to it more often than I have, but like, it's way out of town, isn't it? It's not like, it's not in the middle of the city where there's loads of bars and
25 minutes from the city centre.
Yeah, and that's a big deal as well. Like, I know we've always said about the co-op, moving the Manchester leg to the co-op, but at least there, you're right in the middle of the city where there's a lot of, bars and all the rest of it.
Yeah, you can be out for the afternoon and then go, and then you can head somewhere afterwards. Yeah, I get that.
Same with Cardiff, same with Nottingham, same with Dublin. Again, so, same in Sheffield and Leeds to an extent as well. There are big venues where Newcastle as well.
Newcastle, you're right in the town.
The Metro Arena, like that is right in the middle of the town. So at least there's bars around it. Where Aberdeen, you've got to get a shuttle for about 30 minutes to get to the bloody venue. There's a lot of parking. It's fantastic. But like you might as well just get a bus from the airport. Might as well get a train to the airport and then just go from there. Because that's the best way to do it. And that is, I do think,
only 5 minutes from the airport.
Exactly, it's class. Don't get me wrong. If you're a visitor, it's absolutely superb. Don't get me wrong. But like, I remember going out in Aberdeen the night before the Premier League in 2020, and it was about a good half an hour before we actually got into anywhere near Aberdeen. It was all right, actually. It was a decent night. I enjoyed it, but the taxi fare was very expensive to get out.
It sucks the life out of the, like if you're out and we've all done it. You're going out and you're having a few beers and you're going to the darts or the football and you want some sort of like, not trajectory, but you want some consistency. You want a flow to your evening, don't you? You want to, whether you're going to food, whether you're having something to eat, and often people will have a route through the town. And I think if you're then having to take a 40-minute tram or or you're going to have to get a taxi for 35 minutes. Then you've got the churn of actually getting into the venue, which is a pain in the ass. No, I don't care what venue it is. Getting from the outside of a venue into the venue as a punter is a ball ache. You've got to stand in queues. You've got to get your ticket scanned. You've got to faff around from place to place. Then you've got to stand in a queue for a pint. And depending on which venue you're at, that could either be 1 minute or 100 minutes. I can see how the logistics of some of those venues can just suck the sort of fluidity out of somebody's night out and out of the, just almost stop the party. Like it's happened to us. We've seen it even just like in Minehead. It's something that comes up in the middle of the day and it throws out the trajectory, doesn't it? And all of a sudden,
does it, Daniel?
It can
Does
do.
it?
It can do. Yeah.
It can it? Yes.
From my experience, but it can just make things stutter slightly, and nothing flows.
Yes, it did.
Well.
Yes, it does. Yes. I remember that from Minehead.
Just a quick one. He's in the chat room. Yes. Congratulations,
Mr. Mason.
Congratulations to Charlotte. Again, pictures were amazing. Such a wonderful day. Congratulations to them both. And yes, we are still on for Thursday, everyone. I'm going up to Ilkeston on the way to Leeds to do a nice sit down with Chris. So
the fact that you managed to get Barzy in a suit, Mace, is possibly the biggest surprise of the whole bloody wedding. Nothing else. The fact that you managed to actually get Barzy in a suit that's rare as it is. You should wear it more often.
Chris Mason and the Chief of Public Prosecutions, and that perhaps the only time those two people, will be mentioned side by side. But could be the only two men in Britain that could get Phil Bars into a suit. Yeah, well played.
Congratulations, though, Mace. Well, hope the honeymoon went well, mate.
Yeah,
lovely.
Also, I am going to speak to Chris about our Live Lounge live dates in July. We have one guest confirmed. We'll talk about that later.
Is he going to come up? Is he? Is he going to come up to the northeast?
I'm going to speak to him to see if he fancies it. We've got one guest confirmed.
We've now got so the perfect time. There's 4 different ciders on offer as well now.
Is there?
You'll be giddy, lad. I know you've got a hotel, but you're not travelling back.
Well, no. On Monday night I will be. Sunday night, absolutely, I'm all yours. Monday night,
the next Live Lounge Live is in, and the Cameras Club of the Year 2026. It's the best club in Britain.
Really?
Yeah, we've got certificates and everything on the news.
Wow.
BBC and ITV, best club in the country.
What, Cameras Club of the Year?
Yep.
And the Matchplay Live Lounge Live will be there, which will be cool. The Premier League itself. This is. I know we don't like the format, but this was the first time where the atmosphere massively suffered in Aberdeen. It was shit. is the thing?
Yeah, it was grim. It was grim.
However, Luke Humphries has taken a giant. He was on the brink. Luke Humphries. This was, especially that quarterfinal, was win or bust, and he found a way to pick up what was a big 3 points. Look, it should have been 5. He should have won the final, but
I disagree with that.
I think he should have won the final.
I don't think he had a match start, did he? Until leg 11?
No, he didn't. But he still, when he had the throw, he fluffed his lines. He had the throw to win it and fluffed it.
Yeah, I suppose. But it's just, I don't know. Let me have a quick look at the I can't remember now. It's been Thursday, so I can't remember what happened. But yeah, no, like I said, I don't think he had a match start at all, did he? No,
he didn't have a match start. But now,
he didn't have a match start.
It's a little bit congested for 4th spot.
I am still.
I've got to say, unfortunately, I've got to agree with Daniel here, which I don't like doing.
It's 4 for 2.
I think it is. If you're putting, what's Gezi on now? Gezi's on what? 21 points.
21.
So he's a nightly win. So Van Veen and Humphries are both a nightly win away from overtaking him potentially. You've got to put him. As much as I agree with you that Gezi should be there or thereabouts, he needs another couple of wins for me to be confirmed.
The problem is as well. One of the problems is the fixtures, because obviously, like some of them will
he always beats Johnny. He's got Johnny's number. Whether Johnny's top or not, he always beats Johnny. So he wins this.
To be fair, it's not even that. Yeah, it's not even that, though, is it? It's sorry, go on, mate.
But Humphries and Van Veen are on the opposite side of the draw against Rock and Bunting. So I think you're almost odds on for either Humphries or Van Veen to be in the final, which means Gezi's going to lose. If he doesn't make the final against them, he's going to lose ground. I think Michael loses ground as well when in the process of that. I think he gets beat by Littler. So unless Gezi makes the final, then he's going to lose ground on the other two that are creeping back on him. He also
makes ground on. He also strengthens the gap to MVG if MVG loses to Littler. He's another 2 points in front of MVG.
Yeah, he plays MVG the week after. There is a scenario. There is a scenario where neither Gezi nor MVG make it, and Humphries and Van Veen peg the last 2 spots.
If you're Rachel Riley, yes, but I don't see it happening.
I struggle to see. Right, we'll do predictions later, but again, the big thing for Gezi this week with Johnny is the fact that Johnny's on the beach. He says he doesn't give a shit about the top. It's not like Littler who wants the records and wants everything like that. Johnny doesn't give a shit. So to him, he's qualified. I'm on the beach for the next 3 weeks. Thanks very much. I'm going to be in the second semi-final. I'm more than likely going to qualify second. I'm more than likely going to have the throw. Thanks very much. I will take that. Goodbye. So that is a big help for Gezi, because Johnny is just probably... Look, I do not want to ever say that anyone's going to match fix, because that's not what I'm saying here. But, Johnny might not necessarily try his hardest. It might not be the biggest... It might not be the most important match he's ever played. And that might help Gezi obviously playing against Johnny in that sense, right? But I hope you get what I'm saying at this point.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
The fact that he's at the O2, that intensity isn't the same. You don't need those points. You know you're going to the O2, and you know you can only finish in the top 2.
Yeah.
So he avoids Hitler. Job done. He's got nothing to play for until London.
Agreed.
Can we reach out to Rachel Riley and see if she's free for the Live Lounge Live?
Did they film? Hang on, didn't they film Countdown up in Leeds still?
I'm pretty sure she's on the pre-approved list from Mrs. Simpson.
Is she on the pre-pass list? Is she?
I think she's on the pre-approved list. So if we can get her up, I'll stick 4 different types of cider down her, and we'll see what.
We'll see how we go. Can I have a consonant and a four? Can I have a vowel and 5 consonants, please, Carol? No, Rachel leaving.
Carol,
one
fetch
for the
her
top,
up and all.
Yeah,
Fetch
one for
Carol
the top,
as well.
5 for the bottom, please, Carol. Look, the biggest thing here is that, again, though, if we're going to put Luke Humphrey saying taking a giant step, we then have to also include Jan van Veen in that as well.
Got to.
Because he's ahead of him. He's ahead of him. Like, you have to.
You can put him in there, but the difference is, for me, and this is just my opinion, I still think Luke Humphreys wins a week, and I don't think Van Veen does.
I mean, he's got a shot at a final potentially in week 15, I think, in Birmingham. Like, you're playing Josh Rock, okay, you have to win those sorts of games now. It just is what it is. You then have Gezi and MVG, and one of them's going to be out anyway, and one of them might have qualified for the O2 by that point. And then you've got a final against either Littler or Humphreys. Well, or Bunting or Clayton or whoever, So I think he's got a shot at it.
He might have a heads up, but he could have a heads up game come night 16 in Sheffield. If he's in 5th spot and he's playing 4th, like there could be a point in it, and he could, he could be. And at that point, you'd think, well, I'm not sure how much I'd fancy if it was Michael, say, for example. I'm not sure how confident I am at the minute in backing Michael in a 50-50 game under pressure. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know. I wouldn't be going mad on it. My bookies wouldn't be, they wouldn't be checking in on me.
I think MVG misses out.
Well, Bobsy's just asked when was the last time MVG didn't make finals night? Last year. Yeah. So you've got to suggest if you're going to put Humphreys in that category, and I understand why you're doing it because you think he wins a night, then you've got to put Van Veen in there right now because Van Veen's ahead of him. You have to. This is 2 points behind. Like, it is what it is.
I don't think he wins a night, so that's why I don't think he makes the top 4.
No, again, that's a fair statement. It's a fair statement, and I've got no issue with you making said statement. But you then have, at this current moment in time, Jan van Veen is currently ahead of Luke Humphreys. So if you're putting Humphreys in the category of he could get into the top 4, you have to consider Van Veen might get into the top 4 as well.
He might,
because
but I don't think he does.
Yeah. Okay, right, that's fine. I can accept that.
I don't think he does. I think the top 3 as they are, and then I'm convinced that Luke Humphreys wins a night.
And you think he wins this spot? You think he wins this week, don't you?
Yeah.
You've already said that, so all right.
I've said, but I thought he was going to win last week, and I picked it in advance, and I picked it on the fallout, and I was convinced he was going to win last week.
When can we watch the fallout then? Out of interest, when can we watch it?
When can you watch it?
Yeah, when can we watch the fallout? Do a quick sell. That's what I was trying to get you to do.
Oh, every Thursday night. As soon as the Premier League's over, within 10 minutes of the last start going in, the fallout bar here on Online Darts YouTube channel and on Facebook. We put it on there as well.
There you go. There's your sell. Sorry, I just wanted you to sell it.
Took me back for a second. Do you know what? I've done 2 fallout shows this year. Like you even took me back. You took me by surprise there. In previous years, I've been at it like that.
Quality, not quantity, my friend. Quality, not quantity.
That's because the Online Darts team is growing in strength as well as depth, and we've got some really good chaps that are very capable of running that fallout show. It doesn't need
also, I don't know, it hasn't been confirmed yet, but has Mr. McFarlane found a venue for you two yet?
He's working on it. So what we're looking at doing is a watch along for the Premier League final, and watching it all live. Now, there's a few things we have to contend with, which is like lag and being a bit, because there is nothing worse than doing a watch along and being 2-3 minutes behind the chat room. It ruins it completely. So what we
wouldn't be though, would we? We wouldn't be though, because we all use Sky legally. So,
yes, but if I'm set up in here, I need to run it through the Sky apps. You see, I've got to go through Sky Go or Sky. I'm not running straight from the dish,
I see.
So what we've looked at doing is we found a few pubs that we can maybe both be at the same time, to set up in a little room and have a few beers and sort of do a watch along from within a pub. And I think we're about 80% on a venue. So I think it's probably going to. It's half term, so I've managed to build it into a bit of a plan with the rest of the family to travel up to the northwest. So yeah, I think it could be Cam and I in a pub watching it live on the stream, which will be a good laugh. First time we've done it, bit of fun.
Yeah,
absolutely love that. Right, so let's go to Leeds. Let's go to the First Direct Arena because we're on it. Let's get it done and out of the way.
It's not the First Direct Arena.
Are you going to call it the Mike Ashley Arena?
I'll just call it the Leeds Arena. That's me. I'm sure.
Can we just point out, it is, in my opinion, for darts, an absolutely cracking venue. That amphitheatre style, I think, I genuinely think it's
perfect. The noise stays in.
Perfect for the Premier League. If you can get down, I've been lucky enough to be right on the front row of tables for a Premier League night in there. And you literally, as you look behind you and you look at this huge wall of humanity that seems to go on forever, it's a gorgeous venue for the Premier League. It really is very impressive.
Wasn't it the old Yorkshire Evening Post Arena back in the day? Or am I thinking the MEN? No, it might be the new one. Might be the new one. Okay. In that case, then, yeah, let it have its First Direct nonsense. Go on. Let it have that. I don't mind. I thought it was
no. So, Yorkshire Evening Post sponsored the old arena. And then when the new arena was built, this 2013, this one was built, and that was the First Direct Arena from its inception.
Right. In that case, then, I take it back. First Direct, you can have the sponsorship. You're not getting any shout-outs next week because it is the NIA, and it always will be the NIA.
It's a shithole. That's what it is.
It's not a shithole. It's not the Dive. No, I'll take everything about Birmingham. You know me. I don't mind. I'll defend the second city.
It's too long. You lose the atmosphere. It's a shithole.
I agree with that. It's not a shithole though. The actual place itself is nice. I'm just saying that I don't disagree with everything that you just said about darts for that venue, but I refuse to accept that Brindley Place and all the rest of it around it is a dive. Sorry,
I still think that place is.
Sorry, go on.
I think that place is very much still trading on its legacy as where Gladiators was held.
Damn straight. It always will be. Damn straight.
For a long time, it was just what's it ever done? Well, it did give us the Gladiators in *93.
Gave us Jet and Lightning. What more do you want?
So this week, I want Ludog on the stage. Contender.
Yes!
No, it's next week. That's next week. And also as well, actually, and then Sheffield the following week is where they do the current series of Gladiators. So that's where he could do that 2 weeks in a row. You're going to be in the Midlands, aren't you? I'm hearing on the day of the Birmingham Premier League.
Yes, but it is a fleeting visit to get content and then get back here to stream.
Yes, I've heard. Because
my visit won't be fleeting. My visit will be.
Yours definitely won't.
I'll be there.
Good luck, everybody. Good luck, everybody, with the Fallout bar that week.
Yeah, I'll be there, and I'm committing. My current. I'm starting early. I'm going to provide some non-playing banter
Are you?
Which will, I think, essentially involve me, a golf buggy, and a case of beer, and a gimbal camera.
Mashed potatoes.
It's going to be. I'm going to watch Happy Gilmore 10 times between now and then, and yeah, we're gonna have fun. It'll be worth it. Good cause, very good cause.
Yeah, no,
Sorry,
100%. Yeah, I will be there, but I'll be back here to stream.
Yeah. Well, I've got to jump there anyway on that. I've got to be there very, very briefly to get some kit from Cameron that we had over at Lord's. So, very briefly.
We'll shout it out properly because it is such a good cause. So, the event that we're all alluding to is we will all be at the Midland Darts Golf Day and evening, and there's lots. Like genuinely, it's all for prostate cancer. They are doing amazing work. So please do check out their channel because the raffle that they've got going, there's some unbelievably good prizes on, and it's for a tremendously good cause. So please check it out and have a look at it. And we're hoping to all get down and contribute and help in any way we can to help them raise some extra money.
Yes,
100%. Absolutely. So the quarterfinals in Leeds, World Cup teammates collide. Gerwyn Price against Johnny Clayton. Luke Littler takes on MVG. Josh Rock, Luke Humphreys. And then Gian Van Veen takes on the Bullet, Stephen Bunting. So
it's a Bunting.
It's a Bunting.
Yeah, well, I just come back to the Birmingham thing when they did it for the Commonwealth. Remember they used that video or that BBC intro. It's a Bunting. There you go. Love that.
Right, Price against Clayton. What are we saying? Chat room get involved here as well.
Price wins. Move on. Price wins 6-2. Move on.
Are you that set on it? Really?
Yeah, because if Johnny was still playing for points, then I might be thinking differently because he loves a Thursday night, as we know. But because he does it, because he doesn't need to, he doesn't care about being top of the pile, doesn't care about the league leaders bonus, doesn't care about records and all that stuff. Gezi wins. Johnny's on the beach. Johnny's on the beach for the next month.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I'm so desperate for chaos, but
boring. Boring.
No, fuck it.
Hey, go on, do it.
Johnny Clayton wins 6-5, 1-2-1 in a deciding leg. Mr. Thursday Nights.
Okay. You're wrong, but okay.
6-4, averages 105.82.
Wow.
If it's up there, I'll give you the money myself.
I've even gone to the decimal point as well.
Right. Yeah, decimal point to 2 places. Thank you very much.
Luke Littler takes on Michael Van Gerwen. And are we saying, is this must win for Michael?
It is.
Yeah.
But he won't.
Absolutely.
I didn't ask you if he will or won't. It's just, is it a must-win tie?
Well, yes, for all of the aforementioned, he is only 2 points ahead of Jan Van Veen and Luke Humphreys. I think Michael has the tougher next couple of weeks in terms of draw. I think having to play Luke Littler this week, Gezi Price the next, where it might be Gezi making certain at Michael's expense of his place at the O2. And then the week out, he's going to have to probably play 5th, maybe 6th, we'll see. So I think it's too far. Yeah, I think it is must win, but I don't think he does. I think Littler beats him, 6-3.
Littler's on a charge at the moment. Littler's on a charge where he wants to break records and he wants to piss off every single crowd, everybody from that particular crowd. So he wins this, and he wins this 6-4. However, no. I was going to say something else there about it, but no, I don't think there will be an 9. 9. There will be no 9.
9.
9.
9.
9. But yeah, no, Littler wins 6-4.
Littler wins 6-3.
Okay, that's fine.
Rock versus Humphreys. Humphreys wins 6-3. Move on.
You giving him 3 legs?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, yeah, yeah. I don't know. I have nothing to add to that at all. I don't have anything to add other than yeah, probably. Like you say that, and I sort of go, yeah, I can make a case for it far easier than I can make a case against it. So I'll just go, yeah. What he said.
I'll be different then. We've seen that home advantage in this Premier League hasn't worked.
This is exciting. This is what I like.
Humphreys, no, he doesn't. Rock wins 6-5. Last leg decider.
Welcome to the party.
Yeah, well, there will be a party in Leeds if he loses.
A party spoiler.
That is not a prediction. That is a spoiler.
We have seen though in recent years in this format of the Premier League, and we do regularly see it. We see somebody who does exactly that. Who plays the part of spoiler. They're right down. How often have we seen the person that's been completely cut adrift at the bottom of the table with no chance for weeks and weeks to go end up in the last 2 or 3 weeks being absolutely pivotal and key in affecting who does actually get through to the O2. So it happens. So
it's funny you should say that, because Jan van Veen takes on Stephen Bunting.
Is this where you're going to say chaos reigns?
I am, because I'm going for the bullet Stephen Bunting to win this one 6-4. I think.
Oh, you dick! You absolute dick! I literally had that in my head. I'm not going to change it now.
I just think that Bunting's actually played well in this Premier League, and I don't think his points tally equivalates to how well he has played at times. He's lost with 107, 108. You can't keep doing that, and I think he wins this one.
I think his points tally equates to exactly how many games of darts he's won. And I think you get what you deserve. And
he's averaging 98.24 on the season, mate. Like,
I think that Stephen Bunting has. I think he's sort of come too late. But last week was a bit naff. I know he pushed Gezi to a decider, but there was not really exciting that game. Week before that in Liverpool, he went out with a whimper, 90 average again in the first round. I think Bunting has nothing to play for, and I think Jan does, and I think Jan does him 6-3.
I'll go 6-5 then to Bunting again. Another 6-5 because why not? This game's all going to be about scoring versus double percentage. You look at the averages. The average of Bunting's been higher than Gian this season. In fact, Gian's actually the second worst average of the Premier League, only behind Rock. But his checkout percentage is unbelievable. Unbelievable. 42.79%. Top 4. He would be top 4 if that was the case.
Yeah.
So, from your predictions, I want your winner and who they beat.
Gerwin Price beats Josh Rock 6-4 to all but mathematically secure his spot in the Premier League top 4 in London, and we are down to 3-1. Book it.
Luke Littler is beaten in the final by Luke Humphreys. 6-5.
Boring.
Of this week.
Boring.
Luke Humphreys
doesn't make the table boring. It's not boring for the table.
No, it is still a boring pick.
Does win in Leeds, I agree. I predict a riot will echo around the Amphi Bowl Theatre at the First Direct Arena. But in the final, he will beat go in price.
I ain't got an issue with that. You know, I just don't. No disrespect to the two Leeds because they're obviously the best players in the world, but I can't do it 4 weeks in a row. I just can't. I can't do it.
Can't do it.
You can.
So from there, obviously today we've had the first Pro Tour, which we'll get this little bit out of the way because it moves on to something else. Kevin Dukes has finally done it. And
there it is. Dukes, there it is.
I've been waiting for that headline. I've had that headline printed out for ages for when he finally won one.
He's been playing too well not to win one. So thank God he's finally done it.
Yeah, 100%. And look, he was magnificent. And I was pleased because in a couple of recent semi-finals, he'd let the occasion get to him where he didn't today. He absolutely bossed it. And look, he's homing in on that top 32 and even better. Look, big moment for Kevin Dukes.
It's
huge.
He has been, you know, and continues to just rising. And we've talked about lots of players in quite recent times where, you know, there is the Luke Littlers of the world. There's the Jan van Veens. You know, they've broken through. They've won a lot of money very quickly. They've qualified. They've got to the finals. They've run deep. There are other players, there are other players. And I'm thinking, you know, the Luke Woodhouses of the world, the Wessel Nymans of the world, you know, those that are just building a very, very strong base of ranking money and really sort of becoming regular faces so that they are qualifying for everything. We're seeing them on the TV regularly. They're defending the money that they've got. And I think they are doing a smashing job between them. But Dukes is, you know, he is a player for the future. He's going to continue to get better. On his day, he can, and we've seen him do it, on his day, he can turn over, you know, all but the very best players. And you've got to be at it to beat him. You have to be.
The thing is that, like, obviously, it's a shame that Woody didn't win that final, because he's also been one that should have probably gone on and won events, and he's getting there and he's really developing well. And I like Luke Woodhouse an awful lot. Really lovely chap. A lot of time for him. And I hope that one day and I'm sure this year, his time will come.
He will win.
Dukes has been playing, of course. But Dukes has been playing unbelievably well to the point that he should have won. He could have won multiple Pro Tours already this season. Mate has gone pretty deep on a couple of Euro Tours as well. Like, again, once you get over the line, no one ever forgets you first.
What do you think is, you know, we see him do really well in the World Youth Championships a few years ago. And, like, you know, I think he has just, you know, steadily built on that. You know, we've seen a few really, really good deep runs in the UK Open. We saw him do really well in the World Championships this year gone. Where do you think he gets to? You know, like, is he a top 16 player that we'll see occasionally run through to a, you know, semi-final? Is he a top 32 player that we're going to see pop up in quarters on the regular? Like, where do you think we're going to? Because a lot of players, you know, they up and down a bit, but then if they're going to do 10 years with a tour card, there is a point where they sort of like they level out, don't they? There's a sort of mean average spot in the rankings. Where do you think he sits?
Top 16 to top 32, probably 17 to 32, I think is his ceiling. Unless something else truly dramatic happens. I think that's his ceiling.
I think between 24 and 10, I think he could go into the top 16. I'm not sure he goes beyond.
Are you all right?
I know. Look, the way the TV money is these days.
Yeah, I think he could.
One final on TV catapults you into that, and he's within touching distance of getting to that area.
My guy's not made a quarterfinal yet on television.
He will, though.
Yeah, but he hasn't yet. We've said that about Wessel. We said about Wessel over the last year, but he will do. And he hasn't.
And
but what's going to happen is, I think
the question was where we think his ceiling is, and I think his ceiling is high.
look at the three players that have knocked him out at Alexandra Palace. It's Humphreys, Dobie and Smith. And all of them have done that. Let's be honest, I know they've all gone up and down and here and there. Humphreys, Dobie and Smith all beat him when they were about as good as they were in their careers. He didn't catch them on an off day. So it's, when he's gone to Alexandra Palace, it took a good performance from a hell of a player to dispatch him. And I think that as he develops in the rankings, which we're seeing, he's going to meet those players a bit later in some of these tournaments. He is going to start to benefit as he continues to pull himself up. He's going to start to benefit from rankings from seedings. He's in 35th in the world at the moment, but we see him at third. On that Pro Tour order of merit going into the match player rankings. I know it's open on that side, but I think he's going to start finding his way through tournaments and finding routes through them a bit better as his ranking improves, and with that is seeding.
Yeah, I agree.
I disagree with a pair of you, but that's why we do this show.
Exactly.
Because we like it would be boring. By the way, up the Doku, 17 to 32. By the way, I think is his seeding. I really do. I'm not trying to disrespect, because that's a hell of an achievement to get into the top 32.
There's no disrespect in there. I think if you look at 17 to 32, if you have a quick look through 17 to 32 and you look at some of the names in there at the minute, Martin Schindler, Damon Hetter, Christopher Ratajski, Ryan Joyce, Dirk van Duivenbode, Cam Mentor. They are serious dart players with serious talent that occupy that 16 to 32 band. They're not mugs. That getting there and staying there shows that you are a seriously good dart player. That isn't someone in this day and age that's they're not your happy amateurs. Number 32 in the world.
Joel, this is a question that, look, mate, I respect your opinion, I really do, but this is nonsense. Okay, you say total time of one time of the match play in the Grand Prix, going through his television record last year. Let's just go from when he started to win events, which is basically around the World Grand Prix, obviously second round of the World Match Play, first round of the Grand Prix, first round of the European Championship, second round of the Grand Slam, first round of the Players Championship Final, second round of the Worlds, first round of the Masters, and fifth round of the UK Open. To say that at the moment is not him underperforming on TV for the position that he's put himself in on the Pro Tour is nonsensical. I respect Joel. I've always respected you in the chat room, but I've got to pull you up on that, my friend. I really do. Because
I don't think he's performed on TV to the level.
Of course not.
He can. But I agree. He's still only young on TV.
Of course he is. Absolutely. But
he hasn't hit those levels.
Yeah, in comparison to what he's performed on the floor
on TV.
I'm not, and again, I'm not suggesting that he can't. Sorry, mate. I was just going to say, I'm not suggesting that he can't perform on television, but right now, so the narrative that he's underperformed on TV, it is.
I think as well, when if you just look at, the guy's got 460 grand on his ranking, on his ranking. If you look at
where that's come from,
so 52% of that is from Players' Championship events alone. Wow. 76% of that is from Players' Championships and Euro Tour events. So he's got 400. Now, if you think of the amount of TV money on offer, and think of how much TV money actually is on offer and how those big lumps of money, he's got 460 grand on his ranking, and only 24% of it is from TV tournaments.
That's mad.
That percentages alone.
It's a ridiculous achievement.
I hate to bring it down to maths, but 76% of 460 grand is from Players' Championships and is not on the telly. That's floor events. That's Euro tours. The man is a serious dart player. He's earning serious coin. And if he could translate some of that form that he's showing on the Players' Championship events to the TV, without taking the piss, that is a top 10 player. The 100%. Maths is there. The maths is in front of you. He's a top 10 player.
you look at, right, what's the prize money for the match play this year? I think it's obviously gone up, obviously, hasn't it? What's it gone up to? Can't remember now. World Match Play prize.
225?
Yeah. Let's have a quick look. Right, World Match Play prize money 2026. Okay. So
what was it? 200 last year. Has it gone up?
Yeah. Hang on, I'm just looking now. So first round gets 12.5. Okay, so if he gets to a semi-final of the match play, that's 65 grand onto his ranking. Like we'll call that nearly up. We'll call that there, right? If he's at that point, the chances are he jumps into the top 10 of the world because everybody else is defending money and he's not. Like,
yeah, nobody's made the Wikipedia page for this year's World Match Play. So if anybody wouldn't mind obliging, if anyone's got half an hour spare tomorrow, do us all a favour.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Like he's defending absolutely bugger all.
It is there. You've got to go to the draft page.
Oh, is there one there?
£225,000 for the winner.
Right. I mean, look, I'm not going to go down a World Match Play prediction yet, but I'm saying now that obviously he's, I'm thinking that the chances are that he will be pretty damn close to a good performance. If he puts in a good performance at the match play, 65 grand onto his ranking, that just puts him up towards competing for the top 10. Because you don't think he's going to win Pro Tours in between now and then, and maybe go to another final of the Euro Tour.
Right, this is just with round one money on his rankings. Yeah. He's already provisionally world number 12 after the World Championship, and that's only with first round money.
Yeah, it's
exactly. It's ludicrous.
I've never known, and it wasn't. It's the first time that I've really put that into, like, even in my own head, to realise that 76% of that 460 grand is Euro Tours and
right now, now, he's 15th in the World Match Play seeding race.
Yeah, I was going to say
right now he's not. You get Humphreys in round 2. Now, again, this is no disrespect to Luke Humphreys because he's a phenomenal darts player. But at this current moment in time, would you want to be playing Luke Humphreys or would you want to be playing Lou Littler? I appreciate that's like choosing, how you want to die, quite frankly. But
if you had the choice, you'd rather play.
Absolutely,
you'd rather play Luke Humphreys.
100% you would.
That's just common sense.
Absolutely. So, like, if you're avoiding Littler and you're on the opposite side of the draw to him, like if you take out the number 2 seed in the world, if you take out the world number 2 in round 2, you could fly through the rest of that. You could fly through the rest of that half of the match play. 100%. Let's
be honest as well, right? In terms of early banana skins. I know I talked earlier on about the top 32 in the standing there. There's some shite in the other half of that draw,
Absolutely, there is.
There is. With the greatest of respect, I ain't going to start naming names, but there is some absolute bobbins in the other side of that draw. So if you can avoid an early banana skin, and I know, because in previous years we've seen, and the last few years we've seen some absolute beasts coming in that that to a side of the draw. But if you can pick up some of those lads that are, even the lads that are top dart players that are just a mile away from form, I think the biggest danger in there is clearly Ross Smith on this year's form. Yeah. But
Luke Woodhouse as well.
There's a lot of very nice, comfortable first round games in there.
We've come onto the match play quite well here because there is a lot of established names in danger of missing out. There are also a lot of players in that draw that are not in any kind of form right now. Where last year we were going into it, we were building it. This could be the best match play ever.
We had Gary in there, and we had brutal, wasn't it?
Form-wise, this certainly isn't. Where I'm not saying that they're all fabulous dart players. However,
well,
oh no, they are all. To get to that position, you've got to be a fabulous player.
Okay, yeah. You can use the word. I think fabulous is stretching it a touch there, mate.
But
they're all very good darts players. Fabulous. There's a couple in there that I wouldn't pay. Not be funny, mate, and this isn't me being rude. There's a couple of them in there that if they were playing outside my front garden, I'd close the windows.
Well, what I would say in some of them is that, and this is perhaps because of the way that the qualification works and the way that sort of cycle, the timing of when things start earning for the match play and when you stop, when the match play cuts off, is what there is there are a number of players in there whose best work was done a long time ago to establish that ranking. Nico Springer still sits himself, right up there, number 5 in that spot. But, I think the patch that he went through to establish himself, to get there, I think he's a way away from that.
Well, it was between August and November last year.
Correct.
He was flying, wasn't he?
He was, and he looked brilliant. But since then, he's done all the hard work, if you like, to get that ranking. But there are a number of players where I do look in there and I think, like, who are the players that are that are in form? And you look at the top 3, which I think I'm happy to sort of nod and say, yeah, dangerous. Ross Smith.
Top 4. I think Ratajski's playing well at the moment as well.
Kevin, Ratajski's done a bit. I think Neil Zonneveld. I genuinely think Neil Zonneveld is one of the most dangerous players in the world on his day. I do think he could spoil. I think he could completely spoil somebody's match.
Should be as well, to be fair.
Zonneveld is mechanically his throw, because he's got that slingy elbow. When it's on, like you say, it's a joy. And when it all works, but when part of it is off because of the action, it's scattershot. So it all depends on what version of Zonneveld we get.
I think a lot of them in there they're also, it's not so much out of form. I think it's unpredictable. Dirk van Dijvenbode, unpredictable. William O'Connor on debut, unpredictable. Joe Cullen, unpredictable. Andrew Gilding, unpredictable. Don't know what you're going to get. Cam Menzies, unpredictable. Don't know what you're going to get. Like, in terms of the level, not the behaviour, in terms of the level of darts that they're going to produce when they turn up on the stage, they are. Some of them might be unpredictable. Who knows? But they are unpredictable in terms of what they're going to produce. And I think if you go down that list and you've got your 50 pence and said, which version of them are you expecting to pitch up at the match play, and you look at the big list of players that they're going to meet in round 1, I think we might not be a million miles away from a main order of merit clean sweep.
I was about to say, I don't see
one or two.
I don't see any shocks, if any.
Right. Here's a question then. Right now, who do we think is safe, and who do we think can be packing their bags and booking their hotel?
Well, we'll talk on this as well. But so for me, I think
the cut-off
is safe.
So no, not just. I think Daryl Gurney is in. What we used to call the murky green.
Murky, yeah. I think he's close, but not just there yet.
The problem with Daryl is that gap, isn't it? Like Van Dijvenbode up on virtually 70 grand, and it feels like a big gap back to Gurney on 62. But 62 to 59 between Gurney and Gilding, it doesn't. It's that gap, I think, up to Gurney just makes it tricks you into thinking that he's got a big cushion, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But also as well, I think him pulling out of this Pro Tour, which again I know we'll talk about, I'm sure, but him pulling out the Pro Tours, especially at this stage when you are 2 months out from a match play. I mean, it's a bold strategy, Cotton. There's a number of players that have done it, which I know we'll talk about in a minute, Bazzi, but there's a number of players there that are nowhere near safe for the match play that have pulled out to this week. And I just think it's a bold strategy, Cotton. It really is. Because if you miss the match play, especially with that increased prize fund, as we talked about earlier on, and you look back and you go, I was only about $1,000 off. Could have had that at Hildesheim. It's difficult.
You win one game. Second round of the match play this year is 22.5 grand.
That's quarterfinal money last year.
22.5 grand to win one game, and we've said that we think it might be fairly leaning towards a clean sweep, but let's be honest, right? There are players in that main order of merit list that can be got at. We know there are players that are a bit unsteady and can be got at, especially in the first round. I think it's a very risky strategy, and I genuinely would be interested to hear the thoughts and reason behind it, because it confuses me. Like, I genuinely, I don't even think it's bold. I know you like. There's a good line on it, but I'm not sure it's bold. I think it's confusing. I think it's. I don't know whether it's misadvised. I don't know. I don't know. It's very unusual.
Look, the three we're talking about is obviously Daryl Gurney, Ryan Joyce, and Cameron Menzies. Now, as it stands, we don't know the reasons for them pulling out. Whether because they were, I'm pretty sure that Menzies and Joyce were on the original list, but then it was updated over the weekend. So whether they're ill or so, we don't know the reasons for them pulling out. However, Ryan Joyce is the one at the moment. If Ryan Joyce has not gone to Germany because of his fear of flying, then someone needs to bash his head against the wall. Because you haven't got to fly. Plan your day better. Get on the ferry from Hull and drive from Rotterdam to where you need to go. Because
the trains in Europe are exceptional. The trains in Europe are actually are exceptionally
good. Get on the fucking Eurostar. It's class.
At the moment, Ryan Joyce is the one that is in no form whatsoever. His action is in tatters, and he's only got a £750 buffer. That is not. By this time tomorrow, that he could. Well, they can't because Menzies isn't there either. But
but to be fair, Kim Huybrechts jumps in. Yeah, absolutely.
And then all of a sudden, he's hanging on, and there's pressure. There's pressure on. Cameron Menzies he actually played really well recently, Cammy. He's getting back to the old Cammy on the Euro Tour and the Pro Tour. So that says to me he hasn't just pulled out for the sake of it. Like, I think there must be something, illness or whatever for me. That says to me something else is wrong. Gurney, I'm not sure. Because again, Gurney doesn't miss too much.
No.
To be fair. But
he may well be looking at that though, and because Gurney obviously sat there in 11, so he needs 5 players, 6 players outside of the top 16 to overtake everyone above him and him, and
the top 6. Well, they could overtake everybody else, could they? They could overtake him. The people in green could overtake him, and he goes to 16, and then someone else overtakes him.
Yeah, I mean, I do think Gurney perhaps has had a look at it and thought probably all right here, and he probably is.
I guess he could maybe miss a block. Like, I get that 100%. By the way, American Dave, bang on, absolutely bang on, bang on. I'm telling you now, and I said it last week when she made history, if she wins another Pro Tour before the match play, do not be surprised to see her in the 16 because she's playing some wonderful stuff. Yes, she lost to Rob Owen today. Probably should have won that game, but she's playing some wonderful stuff. And
I tell you what, that lad, we haven't got it, have we, in the back end? It's not in the back end of this show because that lad did his tour card a world of good today, Rob Owen.
He did, yes.
Almost tuned back into the Rob Owen tour card watch, but Rob Owen had a cracking day today, and these are the days. It's quarterfinals here and there that keep your tour card. That's what is going to help Rob keep hold of it. So no, it was a good day from him as well.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it that Białecki's playing well, but the lack of Euro Tours could cost him in the race for the match. On the Pro Tour, he's playing really, really well. Damon Heta, again, a first-round defeat today, and he's now outside. Kim Huybrechts.
Would you believe that? Sorry, before you go on to that, with Damon, if you'd have told me 12 months ago that Damon Heta might not be in a position to make the match play, I'd have told you to go get yourself psychiatrically evaluated.
Yes, but you'd have said exactly the same thing if at the same time you'd have said Dimitri Vandenberg's going to lose his card.
I don't know.
I think there is a batch of players. There is a group of players. For me, anyway, that if you had have sat me down 2 years ago at the beginning of this tour card cycle, and if at the beginning of this tour card cycle, and said, Dimitri Vandenberg is near, he's not keeping his tour card. Like, he's outside. He's outside of the tour card race. Like, he's not holding his tour card on. And if you'd have said that, that's where he would be. Like, the idea that Heta wouldn't be In a million years, I wouldn't have supported anyone saying Damon Heta wouldn't be at the match play. I would have called them an idiot for suggesting that he didn't qualify through the order of merit. And I said, well, I couldn't see a scenario where he ended up outside the top 16. Bizarre. Yeah. But again, where do you stop? You know, like in terms of, and you could perhaps, you know, and I know Phil's mentioned a couple of times the players that sit outside of that. Now, again, if you'd have sat there at the same time as that discussion and said Rob Cross and Michael Smith are going to need to pull some monstrous out the bag to qualify through the Pro Tour order of merit for the match player.
But
you've been carted off.
You look about it. Rob Cross, what was it? What about 2 years ago? Was a World Championship semi-finalist. Michael Smith won the bloody World 3 years ago.
Yeah,
and absolutely. And he played the Premier League last year. Michael Smith won the World Championship 3 years ago. And look at Peter Wright. Peter Wright's fallen off like a complete cliff. Do you know?
Dave Chisnell outside.
To be fair, mate.
Chizzy, I think he's
always qualified for them. Right, I'm not saying he wins them. He's always qualified.
But I think
when's he ever performed, though? Really?
But that action as well, like I feel like there was always a finite, almost sort of lifespan and I think he played almost above himself for quite a long time, and I don't maybe count him in with those. You know, I think there are 4 players that a couple of years ago I expected to be solid Premier League picks now.
Yeah.
And we're in a situation where they aren't making TV tournaments. Never mind not in the Premier League.
Again, Chisnell, right? Just as I go back to him, Chisnell's last final was in the 2022 World Masters. And that was when it was unranked. That was to Cullen. His last final was 2019.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about finals. He qualified for 15 match plays in a row. Forget whether the action's dodgy or not, because I don't think any of us trust the action. But 15 match plays in a row is huge. Now, all of a sudden, he's not there.
I agree that it's a sort of, but is it with Chizzy? You know, Chizzy's 45, and I don't think. I think it's a different conversation. You know, when we're talking about Heta and Michael Smith, and you know some of the other, maybe not Peter Wright, but I almost put Chizzy in with the Peter Wright section. You know, in the sooner or later, Father Time, you can't outrun Father Time.
Father Time's undefeated.
Chizzy, Chizzy at 45. Like when did you think he was gonna? You know, sooner or later he's gonna slow. You know, it's gonna drop a bit. And when did you think it would be? 47? You know, 49? Like sooner or later. And I just think there's been, you know, as Chizzy's sort of gone on the dip a little bit, we've seen players hang on to, or you know, in the twilight of their career, you know, to that back end of their career. Often when we've seen players hang on for an extra few years, it's because there's been fuck all coming through. But then what's happened is you've got someone like Dave Chisnell who's sort of reaching the latter stages of his career, Peter Wright as well. But then what's happened is there's been this full crop, you know, Luke Littler, Jan van Veen, Josh Rock, Wessel Nyman, a lot of the other younger players, even the likes of Schindler that's come up, but you know, the players that have sort of come out and established themselves, and they've just overtaken, and I think maybe brought to a more swift end that petering out of some of those lads that would have kept pottering around on TV and keeping up with things.
What? Hang on, sorry. Are you also? Hang on a minute. Are you also talking about this bloke?
3, 2, 1.
Hi, Jolliffe. Thanks for being in the Barney Army.
Beat you to it.
But Barney's another one that it feels like a massive change in the regular TV stars that we've known for a decade, and now it's going to be a rarity if we see them again.
He's going to get in that cycle, I think, Barney, which I think Peter Wright is currently in, and Dimitri Vandenberg has been in, where he's now in a situation. Raymond van Barneveld went out of pretty much everything he qualified for in the first round last year. Because of that, and he's underperformed on the floor, and he hasn't done particularly well. He's now going to find himself having to not play on these events on TV, and he's going to find other people playing in them, and he's going to find it even harder. And that's the difficulty for which is why Van den Berg finds himself where he is because he's having to try and hold on to ranking money when he isn't playing in any of the events to defend it. And that's where, but the problem, again, Raymond's only, it's one thing looking at it saying, well, he's only defending first round money. Defending first round money is fantastic if you're playing in the event. But if you're not, then you are just watching your ranking systematically drop away and drop away and drop away.
This year, it's worse than that, though, because remember, this is the first year of the prize money increase across the board. So they're not only defending money, they're losing money if they're not there, because the ones that have qualified instantly earn more than what they earned 2 years ago. Is the kicker.
It's going to be difficult. And again, some of these lads are, unfortunately, these players who have been at the very, very top of the world, that have lifted major trophies, and they're going to find themselves at Q School if they want to carry on.
I mean, Bobsy says the points that Cross, Smith, Wright, Chizzy, Dimmy, Heta, and Barney. If you'd have said that to me 2 years ago, that all 7 of them will be outside the match play race, I would have sent you for a psychiatric.
Yes, you'd have been carried off, wouldn't you? You'd have been wheeled away.
Yeah. I'm going to chuck another name in there. Mike De Decker.
Mike De Decker
won the Grand Prix. Like normally, if you win a TV event, you're set for a good 5 or 6 years.
Richie Edhouse.
Again.
You could, but again, unfortunately, and Mike De Decker might throw things around if he heard this, but I sort of put Mike De Decker a little bit in that Richie Edhouse camp. I know there's a bit of a difference in the ranking. I know that maybe standard, but it was a bit out of the blue, and it's not really been followed up. And if anything, you got a big lump of money to defend, and I don't think you're going to, and then you're just going to slide back down again, aren't you?
You look at it, right? Here's one for you. Currently, right now, Mike De Decker is outside the top 32 for the World Darts Championships, which shows you that he's had his moment in the sun. Like, don't get me wrong, do not take away from that 2024 World Grand Prix win, because it was one of the best in terms of sheer doubles. It was one of the best runs you've ever seen. The way that he won, the amount of deciding legs he won in the sets, to have those stones in the locker is incredible. But right now, he's outside the World Championships. Outside the top 32.
You have to be able to use it as a platform, though, don't you? That's the key. You've got to be able to use it as a platform to build on. And I think he is in danger of being remembered as a bloke that once did something good. And
better than most, though, mate. And that's.
Don't get me wrong. This isn't it's not going in 2-footed on him. I just think it's tough, isn't it? There are so many good players out there, and there are a number of big names and people. Interestingly, as well, there are also people who perhaps we don't, and we may have offended some people by not actually mentioning them as the big names that we think, but there are also, let's be honest, there are some egos in this game of darts. There are some serious egos, and there will be some people, as you both know, sat outside of that match play race thinking that there's no way in the world that the match play, that they shouldn't be, or that the match play should be going ahead without them. They should be there. There are some big egos, and I think there are some people that are going to have to really take it on the chin, not being there this year. Be harder to take if they've not got a fucking card but
here's one, and Dave, you've got one of the names right. Wadey and Aspinall, fine. If you look at the tour card race, they're deep inside.
Sorry to interrupt, boys. I'll be back in 2 minutes.
No. This time next year, we could be having this conversation, about MVG not being at the match play?
Correct.
Because he currently sits outside the top 16 on the main order of merit. And his Pro Tour form has been 37 on the Pro Tour order of merit on 51. So that would put him outside currently of that 16. So look, this time next year, we could be having a conversation about MVG not going to Blackpool unless something changes.
It's not good enough, Phil. And this is the difficulty. And you've maybe got more insight and knowledge than anybody else. But you look at the tour card race. You look at the live post World Championships. Now, bear in mind, other than the Slam at the minute, I don't think Michael Van Gerwen is playing in everything. So he's going to get at least first round money in everything. He's picking up money all year round. He's qualified for everything other than the Slam, but he is ranked 20th on the Pro Tour order of merit. On the
tour card
race. 20th on the tour card race, and then again you look at the players that are around and under, and you think, well, I can see a couple of them picking up a bit more than him. So he's not going to qualify unless he does something in between now and the end of the year. He's going to be outside the 16 for the match play. So then he's going to have to go and perform on the Pro Tour. He's going to have to go and play on the floor. It sooner or later, some of it perhaps might feel like it's beneath him a little bit. Some of the things that he's going to have to do to continue just to be on the telly. And this is a player that, let's be honest, Phil, is going to be in the Premier League next year. And we could have a player in the Premier League that this time next year, we could be saying, well, he's been playing in the Premier League every week, but he's not going to Blackpool at the end of the Premier League. He's not going to, he hasn't.
Yeah,
and I think it's a real concern, and I don't know. And the thing is, Michael's excellent at saying exactly the right things in interviews, isn't he? You've interviewed him more than probably anybody else in Dan. You've interviewed him hundreds of times, and he always says the right things. But I would be really interested to know, very honestly and deep down, how much there is a real fire lit within him of wanting to drag his way back to world number one and win another world title, and how much he believes that is possible, or whether he's accepting that he has potentially been surpassed, certainly at the moment, in what can be done, and he's not going to dethrone the boy wonder. And is he just on a bit of a is this a last long tour, filling up the accounts before it's finally time to call it a day and live on the exhibition circuit? I don't know, but I do think there may be a point where what I don't think we will see is Michael Van Gerwen toiling
like Peter Wright
at Euro Tour qualifiers, and I don't think we see. I think he would consider it beneath him, and I don't think he has any interest in playing at that level of the game, and so I would be interested to see.
I agree, and I think it's a mentality, and I know Vincent talks about it a lot in his podcast, and I know we only get the Dutch translations, but the issue is look, this is a proper sport now. This isn't a sport where you can go through on reputation and ability. You have to work hard at this now, because there is this young group of players coming through that work hard, practice a lot. Diet and nutrition, and I know everyone goes, it starts. That's becoming more and more of a thing. You've got long days that you have to fuel and service your body for these long days. And we look at what they are doing. You have to either buy into that and join the regime and believe in it, because you can't continue to do what you've always done. The sport evolves, players evolve, and if you don't do that, you're going to get fan wanting, no matter how much ability you have. And I put Gary in this as well. Look, Gary is one of the most naturally gifted players we've ever seen. However, natural ability only gets you so far. And in the end, you will get found out by players that are working harder than you.
Well, the thing is, and this is the system that darts or the system that now exists within darts, right? Loads of people who had natural talent, they never ended up playing darts because they just never knew it was there. They never knew it, they never found their way to darts. So what you used to get in darts was you got people that liked it, that weren't particularly maybe the best naturally talented people, but then they worked very, 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 very hard at it because they loved it. And then every now and again, you would get these, these players, the Adrian Lewises, the Gary Andersons, the ones that there is something about their ability to pick up a dart and throw it that is just like, it's just natural. But the problem the problem for people like that is when you then have academies all over the country in every town, and you then have darts clubs in schools, and everyone in Britain, every young person is picking up a set of darts, you have cast the net so much wider for chancing on people that have a bit of natural talent. And then when you capture somebody with some natural talent, as we have seen in recent years, there is then a structure to take that natural talent and harness it, foster it, provide it with an awful lot of competition experience and academy training and support and mentoring and sponsorship and money and all the other things that go with it. And it's going to get harder and harder and harder for players who've maybe been around for a while and relied on their natural ability, maybe didn't practice as much as others because they didn't need to, because they could, they were good and talented. It's going to become harder because that natural talent that is coming through in the youth game is going to be harnessed and developed better than ever before, because there is a better system than there's ever been for it now. People are going to get to the age of 16 having played more competitive darts matches than any other player previously. When they're more than Luke Littler ever did. The players that are coming through now, the youth players, are going to get to the age of 16 having played far more competitive darts than Luke Littler ever did before 16, because they're 7, 8 playing in academies every night or several nights a week, and then they're playing in schools, and we are in, I believe at the minute, the crossover period, and I think it's quite a beautiful period. I genuinely think it's gorgeous. We have got this almost passing of the torch. I think we are seeing this crossover with the Gary Andersons, the Peter Wrights, the Gary Wynne Prices. I guess he may be a different one. He'll stick around for a bit, and he's right at the top end. But with this new crop of developing players, and over the next couple of years, we know who's coming through with the tour card. We know the 15, 16, 17-year-olds now that will have a tour card in 3, 4, 5 years' time. And they are going to fucking fly.
Oh, 100%. At what point, and this is the chat room, I'm interested to see your point as well on this. We've spoken about all this talent coming through. Now, the PDC is limited to 128 tour card holders at the moment. Now, this is a two-pronged one. At what point is 128 not enough in terms of standard and ability? But also, if you increase it, you have to prop that up financially, because we've already said at the bottom end of the tour, it's not a full-time job at the moment. They don't earn enough. They don't earn enough money. But with this, like you say, with this pathway and this structure that the sport now has, that when all of these academy kids come through, when is 128 not going to be enough?
So my personal view, and everyone will tell you something different, and some people will know all the problems, that with whatever point I raise. But I think 128 is fine. And I think what you then do is you look at what sits then under the 128 and what the route is. So do you then, like, if you've got your 128 is your pro, is your pro tour. That's what they're your pro tour card holders. But then does your challenge tour stop being what it is? And do you then have a formalized, structured, numbered challenge tour, which is a 128? And then if you then got almost two leagues, you've got your championship and your Premier League, and you've got your formal, like sort of second division, if you like. I'm looking for the kind way to say it, but and then you can look at routes of entry into both of those, because what you then do is I think automatically you make the challenge tour far more competitive, because you remove all of the shite from the challenge tour, and that then exists in a third tier. But I think that is the route. The dev tour will always be slightly different, because you've got that, that youth development, and you've got the crossover between the tours. But in terms of that talent, and when people are ready to be a full tour card holder, what I think 128 is fine. But what I would do is I would 128 cap the challenge tour to make that, because you immediately the quality is better. Your mean average, if you take your average across the life of the challenge tour in a season, is far better if you cap it at 128. So you're getting more competitive games. You're playing regularly against people of a higher standard. Iron sharpens iron. Your third tier is your third tier. But again, I think you have a route from the third tier into your challenge tour 128, or whatever you then call it. And then I think you can do sideways and upwards into the pro tour. You can have promotion, relegation, almost, from top to bottom. And I think you can have a side route in terms of Q School, which you can still keep open, and you can still collect your money. And what you can perhaps do is you could develop Q School in terms of direct entries into pro tour cards, and then into that second tier. I could iron it all out, but it'd take the other half an hour. But that's what I would do. I think that's the way to develop it. It keeps your quality in your top 128, increases the quality underneath it, gives everyone a chance to play more competitive games. Bookies would probably like it, because you've got more games that are competitive rather than having a load of games that are 1 to 12 on or something.
I disagree with working harder, Paul, because at the moment the money isn't there to make the tour 100% professional. Because if 64 to 128 work harder and get better, that's fine. They move up, they just knock someone else down, so the problem's still there. That financial thing isn't there. Then if they were, you're just constantly, okay, work harder, get better, fine. But then you're knocking someone else down. If they're working hard as well, at the moment, the biggest issue from the tour for me is the prize money structure doesn't add up. If someone gets better, then it only changes their problem. It doesn't change the problem. For me. And Johnny's put it there, there's only so many games that can be won. 100%. So for me...
Yeah, half of the Pro Tour has to lose in the first round of every event.
Correct.
That's the rule. Half of every time you have an event, half of the tour will lose in the first game. It's unfortunate, but it's maths, isn't it?
Yeah. So for me, it looks great having this £1 million prize money, and look, I get it. But the next prize money increase, for me, you shouldn't be touching the TV. You shouldn't be touching the TV money. Any increases now has to be on the tour to make them more financially viable.
That's the only way to increase the professionalism. It's the only way to continue to The way to professionalize your sport and make it more professional is to make sure that more people can do it as their profession. Like, I haven't got, like, there is simply no better way of putting that. Like, if you want your sport to be more professional, you need the people doing it to have it as their profession. Like, it's you need to make sure that every time they register a birth and they have to fill in the box, they don't put butcher, baker, candlestick maker, and they put darts player. Like, that's what we that we need the word dart player on more birth certificates. But yeah, that's what makes a sport professional. That's what allows the standard. Like, the standard will go up when more people can commit more time to it. There is only a finite amount of time that everyone's got in the week. And if you're having to work 45 hours a week or 48 hours a week, or whatever how many hours a week you work in your given calling, then that is 40 odd hours that you cannot commit to practicing darts. Therefore, you won't be as good. It's like, this isn't revolutionary. These aren't revolutionary theories, are they?
Everton are 2-1 up.
Oh, well, Sean Murphy has just had has he just had a 1-2-4 or a 1-3-1? Depends if he doubles the black, the cheeky bugger. 1-3-1. Sean Murphy has just leveled up 16-all in the World Championship final. Some final. I've got screens everywhere tonight. I got screens all over.
Warren, to a point, however, those players won those tour cards and the others didn't. So you can't look. Although I don't like the system, the players still won those cards.
What I would say on that as well is there is still, to a degree, a meritocracy in terms of getting a Q card. Like, yes, those players missed out at Q school, and other players got one at Q school through one good day, turned everything, managed to get a card and grab a card. However, like, that's not the only way to earn a tour card. If you look at the minute at the Challenge Tour, Joe Hunt, Derek Coulson, pretty bloody comfortable, a pair of them, in those top two spots. They're going to go to the World Championships. They're going to pick up a tour card. Like that, if you are good enough, you get a tour card. Like I know that there is an imbalance between how many that go through this tour and how many that go through that tour. If you are good enough to competitively play on the Pro Tour, you will get a tour card. It just happens.
Yeah, 100%. But also,
mate. You're back.
Yeah, Daniel, you'll know this one. Barzi, you won't. When you are trying a young'un and they decide to do a poo in the bed, goes really well. So yes, that's what I've had to deal with for the last 15 minutes. But it's all good. Sorry about the impromptu leaving.
I've blamed my kids as well when I've had an accident.
Yeah. You know how it works, mate. So yeah, sorry for leaving you all. What have I missed?
We've been
you've missed also again, mainly me theoretically going on about how we can restructure the entirety of darts. I think.
Oh, lovely. I missed that. I was excited for that.
We've fantasy booked all of darts.
Good.
Look, there are changes coming to the Challenge Tour next year, which will help. Which will be interesting. I think for me, changes for the better from what I'm told. But also, those players need to be more professional as well. Is the thing that some of the Challenge Tours I see are just a disgrace. Some of them.
Well, this is why that's why. Without going over it all again, that's why my proposal is what it is, because I think you have to be able to put a limit on that as well. Otherwise, it doesn't, and it also doesn't provide the level of challenge and professionalism that you want people to experience in order to bridge that gap. That's what we talked about younger players and how much competitive darts they're getting from such young age and how much better that is for them. Like, the more that you can increase the quality on that Challenge Tour and do things to to make it more competitive and help people develop through that route, the better. Right. And remove some of the shite, because there is too much shit in there.
Oh, 100%. There is. And
trust me, I know the phrase at the moment, too much shit.
Yeah.
So don't worry about that, my friend.
There's too much. Okay. I mean, there are some, if you go down to the deep, dark bottom end of the Challenge Tour, like, bugger me, there is some poor quality.
Yeah.
And my issue is that
there's also some players down there that should be nowhere near there and should have a fucking tour card. Some of them as well. So the bottom end of the tour card, the bottom end of the Challenge Tour rankings is a very strange and murky place.
Paul, my argument to this is, and I stand by this, anything to do with the PDC should be professional, whether that's the Dev Tour, the Challenge Tour, the Women's Series, the Pro Tour. If you want to enjoy the social side of it, with the greatest respect in the world, fuck off to one of the holiday camps and get a caravan for the weekend and enjoy that.
We do. Most people do at Minehead every year. That's the one time of the year.
No, I'm talking about players. As in,
no, I know, but still. But know that as well. The players will do that.
Go to them, right? I still see players on the Challenge Tour that go there just for a piss up on a weekend to play darts. That's not what the Challenge Tour should be about.
But I also believe, we talked loads tonight about, about this transition that we think this sport is in, and that what we're going to see, you are going to see people come through in the next 3 or 4 years who have never played darts under the influence of anything. And that's when they're going to play their best darts. And what they're going to find, that if they have a couple of pints, all of a sudden they get a bit wobbly, because that's what's going to happen. Because they've been playing in the after-school club since they were 11, and all of a sudden, I play with 4 pints in me. I haven't drank 4 pints before. I'm only 17, and regardless of whether people like it or not, and what's going to happen is that social darts world where they, they love it and I love it and it's great, but it's going to be passed by a crop of players more than ever before. The numbers don't the number of players that are actively involved in darts now is more than ever, and they are going to bypass all of that batch of players, and they are going to have a more sporting approach to their, to darts. They just are.
To their field of work. And in the same way, like Paul said, but take the money off them for Q School. Yeah, of course they do, because the PDC, because the Q School element of things, the Dream Factory, is what the PDC is built on. But
if you look at one of my streams, I've said this a lot. They take money off players they shouldn't be taking money, and I've said that before. There should be a barrier to entry to Q School.
But also, mate, the kind of is, if you look at it, really.
Not really. I can pay 450 quid and go to Milton Keynes.
Yeah, but you can't get to the point where you win a card.
50 quid to go to Milton Keynes.
No, but you can still be in that first bit, and then just because you've gone to Q School, you can go to the Challenge Tour.
No, I get that, and that again, that also is a point of it. But the thing is that at least with Q School now, there is a sort of a barrier to get your tour card, because you can't just. It wasn't like before, where if you had a great run,
there needs to be a barrier to
go. Barrier to getting onto the Challenge Tour. So my proposal was to cap the Challenge Tour at 128.
3-1 Everton.
3-2.
Oh, for fuck's sake! Is it?
What's that?
3-1 Ev. Jesus. This isn't good.
Up the arse. No.
Yeah. I over the last 3 or 4 years, and I'm not going to name individuals, but you'll be able to work it out.
I will.
I've seen people that have paid entry to go to Q School to create content.
Oh yeah, we know
that
who it is.
That is not what Q School was designed for, or should be for.
Yeah, I agree. But I think that is because I think my view has often been that whilst I don't think Q School should be, streamed live, so for people to watch along, I've always thought that it was a bit of a missed opportunity for the PDC in terms of the content that comes out of it. Like, I do think that the PDC could do a lot around Q School in terms of content that we don't see.
Well, we've said it, haven't we? Like we tried to talk to them on a couple of occasions, and I understand that we can't show live games. We don't want to show live games, and Dan does his bits every time in Milton Keynes. But even this year, they didn't have anybody at Calcutta, which is just like, why? Why would you not have anybody there? Because it's important to hear from the European Tour card winners. But as I say, we talked to them before, haven't we, Barzi? Like, is there a possibility of maybe trying to do something and trying to be in the room and all that sort of stuff? It is. The thing is that there's this sort of mystique a little bit around Q School because we don't see any games. There's this sort of mystique around it.
100%. But this is what we're going to. And Johnny made a really good point earlier on where I can't remember where it is, but he says the players that take it professionally will get the benefits from it. And that is true. Right?
And the point is that the others will be left behind. That's my point, is the others will be left behind. But I think that if you cap Q School, if you
3-2, by the way.
If you cap the Challenge Tour at 128, you immediately increase its professionalism and quality and the development of the players on that Challenge Tour. And if you then have a third tier that, everyone who goes to Q School automatically goes in, but you've got to earn your way up and down or something, then I think that makes for a more competitive and better quality structure. Darts is going to have to expand eventually. It's going to have to expand. And I do not believe that it should expand beyond its 128 tour card holders. But if you look at other big sports in the world played by lots of people, where lots of people want to play them, as a pro, and you look at tennis and you look at golf and others, individual sports with a tour, they end up having tiers of tour. There is this elite tour that is the pro tour, but then what there are other tours, feeder tours that people are playing on. And if you just open the tours and say anyone can play them, if you pay £400 a year, you immediately devalue that tour and erode its quality straight away. Like, you've got to keep a sort of an access point almost and protect the quality.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I think the Challenge Tour should be used way more to sort of use tour cards. I'm sure you've talked about it while I was away, so that's the big thing. But yeah, like Rob says, PG's got the Corn Ferry Tour underneath it. Yeah, absolutely. There's loads of other tours around. Like, you look at the tennis. I know that's where they want to be eventually. Where there's ranking events in different parts of the world. They have the main ATP World Tour, then they have the Challenge Tour underneath it, and they have the ATP 500 and all this sort of shite.
But there is a route. There's like a map.
Absolutely.
You can lay it out, and if you start to be shit, there is the route that your career is going to follow down, and if you're on the way up, you can see. And yes, there are, like there is everywhere, there are still the wild cards and the qualifying events, and you can still turn up and play amazing on a day for a one-off and end up doing something cool. Those dream stories still exist, but you have created a much broader environment and a big, wide, firm structure for darts to exist. And I guarantee you, if you have that, darts gets better. The standard of players increases, more people engage with it. Even down to, I genuinely believe, the money that comes into it gets better. If you have a more perfect, and again, it's bollocks, right? And so have a dig and have a moan, but I know what point I'm trying to make, right? The championship in football, right? The championship, League One, League Two, the National League. The National League still gets decent, good, high-profile sponsors, right?
Yep.
It's not that only the Premier League is viable. It's viable at all levels because of the structure and the clarity and the way that it is. You know, you can't just go and form 11 lads and go and play in the National League. That would be absurd. You can't pay 500 quid a year and, you know, and it'd be completely bananas. So what you limit it, you cap it, you make sure that the people there are of a standard, you allow them to compete against each other, and you provide a broader web for them to move around with it. And that gets support, viewers, sponsors, because it's a structure. It becomes to exist in and of itself.
Warren makes a good point here in the chat room when he says PDC Challenge will then partner with the ADC, and obviously Paul mentions Modus as well. It should all be intertwined, and this is why we've talked about it for a while. But we need a regulatory body.
Yes, and
aligns the whole thing to the game. But the PDC won't do that because they don't want to, and I get why they don't want to, but they won't do it.
No, so, unfortunately, what you're suggesting there is, you know, BBC and ITV get together to produce, you know, a version of the Traitors Celebrity Get Me Out of Here in Out Street. You know, that you're asking for two different things and two different sets of contracts and everything else to just sort of fit together. And they're different worlds, and that is a challenge. And all that, I therefore think it's the PDC that if it's going to happen, it's got to be them, because they are the you know, they're the big guns, aren't they?
Yeah,
and to fair, Johnny makes it. Great point.
Yeah, you can't. Like, and this is the thing. But the PDC every January sell this dream to people that you can turn up, you can have a couple of good days, and you'll be the next Luke Littler. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen. I want, you know, in the words of immortal words of Eddie Hearn, and I want an 11-inch penis. It's not going to happen. So you have to be realistic on this. There needs to be, now that darts is getting more professionalized and it is doing every single year, the structure has to change. Like,
do you remember when I was arguing with a former PDC director on my phrase, and my argument to him was, where he was talking about Q School, about this dream you can just turn up and play, and he mentioned golf, and my exact words for him was, yes, but I can't turn up to golf Q School, hack round in 400.
Well, again, like David said it, but I don't know. I mean, look, no disrespect to Angry Ginge, because I know we can play darts, but like, if he's just going to turn up to Q School, I think he's going to be able to walk it against players that are going to lose their card and try to come back and all that sort of stuff. It's just not. Again, I want an 11-inch penis. It's not going to happen, and there has to be some realistic in this. It's like, we get people in the chat room, don't we? Well, I average 65. I average 70. Do you think you're going to get? Do you think I should go to Q School? No. Save your fucking money. No. You'll be absolutely laughed out of the place. It's as simple as plain as that.
Yeah, 100%, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens with it. Again, record pullouts in Germany. 15, I think, tour card holders missing. Are we surprised anymore? No.
Well, we already know that one boy's not going to go, is he? We know one boy's not bothering the Pro Tours this year. Evening Buckers, if you're still in the chat room.
Look, he's already will not be at Minehead, because the Littlers will not be coming to Curry Club on the Thursday.
No. I don't know why we're surprised anymore. The PDC don't want that.
I'm not surprised at all, which is why I still think they will change the rules.
I know you do, but at that point, then I know it's the PDC's product; they can do what they like, but it then becomes a European Super League, doesn't it? It then becomes the European Super League. It essentially becomes a closed shop. Unless you win a TV tournament, you are not getting in the top 16. Simples. And they just no, you are.
Yeah,
unfortunately,
Westall's got in the top 16 without any TV.
Yeah, but again, that's an exception.
We've talked endlessly about what a complete fucking anomaly it is and how ridiculous it is, isn't it? Like the fact that
I'm finding you up, you know. But
I know that, but like I get it.
But again, this is the difference between what the commercial arm wants and what is right.
But this thing comes back to our point of.
But essentially, the PDC are a promotional company.
And this comes back to my argument.
That's the point. I agree.
a regulatory body, but we're never going to get one because the PDC
Correct.
don't want it. We're just never going to
no,
get it.
100%.
No, I mean, yeah, it ain't gonna happen. And if you but it is, again, it is what it is, and I don't. If I don't think I'd run it different if I was, if it was my business.
No, of course. I get it.
It is what it is now, and it's one of those things. Boxing's the same. There are a number of sports, and I think it's perhaps it's just coincidence that these are the sports that the PDC that the Matchroom have done particularly well in. Is these sports that have either without a governing body or their governing bodies are so diluted and dissected, like boxing, that everything just becomes not about the sort of sports structure and just about what deals that can be done. I don't. It is what it is, and but you're never going to get it back. It's too far gone. Like boxing,
I agree. It's never going to change.
Too far gone. It's never going to. It's never going to. You're never going to get universal rankings in boxing like you have in MMA, in the UFC or anything like that. You're never going to get
the UFC. Look at the UFC. They're a promotional company. They don't, they run the sport essentially. They run mixed martial arts, but they're not like the govening body of it. They're basically a promotional company that everybody looks to. But
loads of other people have had a go at it, and they've been quickly put to bed, haven't they?
The problems they now have got though, because of boxing, that you've got all of them suing UFC, so that they've got massive issues now as well because they're being sued by all the fighters.
But here's a question for you, genuinely. Again, we talked about fantasy booking and all the rest of it. Had the BDO accepted Barry's offer back in the day in 2010, where do we reckon we'd be as a sport? I reckon we'd be way more aligned than we are. 100%.
I think we'd be in a much better place than we are now.
I agree. 100%. 100%. I think we, as a sport, we are starting to fragment far too much, and we need to just try and see if there is a way that we can come back together. Ollie Croft, as much as he was a pioneer in the 70s and 80s at the time, I mean, obviously we know the legacy of the Tomlin order and all the rest of it, the split, but if it had just accepted the offer right now, I reckon the sport would be in a much healthier place.
I think in terms of,
I'm not saying it's not in a healthy place, but revenue's never been greater, sponsorship's never been greater, prize money's never been greater. But in terms of the whole sport being aligned, and that includes professional amateur game.
I agree.
Yes, absolutely, 100%. It's a shame. It's just a shame.
Yeah. Well, I agree, Paul. And some of the alignment is good, but from the top of the sport to the bottom of the sport, it's like that.
It's like, for example, would the PDC and the WDF and the ADC all be aligned pretty much? Would we need two? No disrespect to the WDF, but would we need two amateur arts organisations if the offer was accepted? Probably not. No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Should
we have a couple of minutes of question time? It's gone rapid tonight.
Well, we're there already, aren't we?
Yeah.
The Ever won. The Ever won as well.
Holy hell! It's 5-10.
The Ever won 3-2.
Work tomorrow. Working on my birthday.
Outrageous.
Ridiculous. Joys of the public sector. It's not. I'm saving the holidays until I get a car that's not electric, so I can drive to Europe.
Nice. To be fair, my trip to Aberdeen was good.
Did you fly?
We know. We know. You know what's the snoops when we get off this thing? Because it looks like it's going to go down to the wire.
16-17.
Yep. Looks like it's going down to the wire.
Yeah, which is good that they've come to that agreement, but that ties that. But what I'm saying is from the very top level to the bottom, it's still nowhere near where it should be. Warren, I haven't got a clue, mate.
Oh my God, 3-3.
Shut up.
3-0. I've just seen it on Flash Score.
Wow.
I mean,
Title's
in
title's
fairness,
done still, though. It doesn't really matter.
yeah, unfortunately, too little, too late, isn't it? It's
Unless West Ham, unless Arsenal drop point. I think I know we're a darts show, but West Ham, Burnley, and who else is it? Is it Palace?
The Arsenal running's fairly easy, to be fair.
yeah, they'll be fine.
Yeah.
Um,
Who have they got? So quick look. So they got Atleti on Tuesday, then they got West Ham, Burnley, and Palace. Piece
they
of
don't
piss.
need any of that.
We're all West Ham, though, aren't we?
Oh, we absolutely are. 100%.
Newcastle are playing West Ham on the 17th, and I'm telling you, who I'm cheering for.
Yeah, correct.
for the first time in 39 years, it ain't gonna be Newcastle United.
Yeah. What do you think? I'm pleased Benito Van der Pass is back playing. I must admit, I haven't watched any. I don't watch any. I've watched very little of the Super Series, so I didn't see any of it. But no, I'm pleased that he's back. It's nice that he's back playing, which is cool. Yeah, happy Star Wars Day as well. Just out of interest, what is everyone's favourite Star Wars film?
Never watched a minute of it.
Oh, I mean, so again, you know what it's like in our house. Like, me to stick to the. If you want me to stick to the 9, then it's probably Return of the Jedi. But I have a soft spot for some of the newer. I have a soft spot for a lot of it. I'm a bit of a geek, aren't I? I'll tell you what I rewatched the other week because Billy hadn't seen it. Was Solo. That's very good, you know. That's very, very good.
Obi-Wan Kenobi's good.
That's very good. There's very little of it I don't enjoy. You know, I'm a bit of a I'm very much in the universe. There's very little of it that I don't enjoy.
Yeah, 100%.
The day that I retire, which is 16 years this week.
Did you check your pension age? Did you?
Public sector pension, mate. Yeah, I won't work a day past. I will not work a day past 55. So yeah, I retire in 16. I retire in 16 years, and I've basically said that as soon as that lump sum clears, I'm going to buy the biggest Millennium Falcon Lego set, and I'm just going to sit on my hoop for a couple of weeks.
Well, at least to be fair, at least Tyne and Weird Police or whoever it is up there will be able to catch you.
Yeah, easy.
Absolutely,
Mate,
so, well done.
I'm not going to be running fast by the time I'm 55, am I? I'm not going to take any chasing down. It looks like the dream's gone for Sean Murphy. I think Woo is he's away with it. He's away. The dream is dead.
So is that two Chinese victors in a row in it? The Snakes
It will be, yeah.
Back-to-back first-time winners as well.
Remember, everyone, we will be live again tomorrow for the Pro Tours as well. So if you haven't yet, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. And this will be available as an audio only in the morning. So from all good podcast providers. But it's been a blast as always, gentlemen. Put it in your diary if you are in the Northeast. Monday, the 13th of July.
Monday, the 13th of July. Camera 2025 Club of the Year. We're going to do the live lounge live. So essentially, structurally, the same as what we do every year in Ilkeston, getting ready for the World Championships. We do our preview show for the World Championships live. We're going to do preview show for the match play live in person in Technicolor. It's going to be good fun. The lads are all coming up to Teesside. We're going to have a bit of maybe a bite to eat on a Sunday. It'll be Parmo's all round.
We're recording a cricket podcast as well.
Yeah, it's going to be a busy couple of days, but I think we'll be setting up this is a flex, isn't it? One of the dining rooms, probably the formal one, we'll set up for a bit of a working from home space on the Monday, because I think everyone's got to do a bit of remote working for the chaps. But no, I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait.
Yeah, no, it will be good. But thank you all so much as always, and I will see you tomorrow at 12. But I'm in Phil Bars, Dan Simpson, Jarlath Eaton. We have been the Live Lounge. We'll see you all very, very soon.
Bye.
Going in 3, 2, 1.
Hi, Jarlath. Thanks for being in the Barney Army.